All right, I believe we're live. Welcome. We got the Miami Heat here today that we were talking about, and let's talk about what they did here. Let's move the camera here. All right, let's go. All right, so if you haven't noticed already by the thumbnail, the Miami Heat were able to land both Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker, along with bringing back Duncan Robinson, making some other moves where they brought in Max Struss. I believe they were keeping Gabe Vincent as well. And they also made the extension to Jimmy Butler, along with signing Dwayne Dedmon. So right now we're looking at the cap sheet. So we'll go ahead and kind of look into that a little bit more. But again, before we get started, we're going to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are making a lot of NBA content over here and providing a lot of insight as to kind of what's going on in the league and free agency. So free agency is still taking place. The summer league starts today in Utah. They're doing their summer league with them and the Grizzlies and the Spurs. And then I believe it's next week at some point that the Vegas summer league starts as well. So we'll be doing some probably game watching there and kind of look at potential guys that are stars out of the summer league. But again, comment on the video if you like it. Feel free to enter the chat for these little streams, along with liking the video and subscribe to the channel. We're doing everything that we can over here to provide the best coverage of the NBA as possible. All right, so let's get started with the Miami Heat. Again, Lowry is the big signing out of this. Now the numbers that are shown here on screen are estimates for kind of what the Heat could be offering Lowry. I think it's smart for them to offer him a front-loaded contract where, as you can see here, he's getting paid 31, 30, 20, 28 in the next year. So yeah, the Lowry situation, being able to bring him in. Obviously, we've heard that the trade is going to likely. I don't think I've seen anything official, but the feeling around the league is that it's going to be Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic to the Toronto Raptors for Kyle Lowry. So interesting stuff there. So Kyle Lowry is going to Miami. I think he fits pretty solid with the team. I kind of like the big three of Butler, Bam, and Lowry. You add some shooting with Duncan Robinson by keeping him. You bring in a defensive presence like PJ Tucker, who can also hit some threes. You don't have to give up Tyler Hero. So a pretty solid rotation going on there in Miami. Just getting started. So the other things that I kind of wanted to mention here were the Jimmy Butler extension. So they signed Jimmy Butler to a long deal. Now, again, keep in mind of kind of what's coming up here for Butler and what this estimation is looking like. So we're talking about a guy who's going to average about $46 million over the next few years for Miami. A huge number. You do worry a little bit there about how much you're paying him. I understand why they do it. Obviously, last year, this Heat team led by Jimmy Butler went to the finals. So you do, kind of pay him for that. But at the same time, there has to be a little bit of hesitancy from some GMs in the league to do that. But again, I think this is a sign where it's like you're going to pay guys for what they did as opposed to what they're going to provide your team. And if you do that, maybe more teams are going to land more guys are going to want to come to Miami seeing that. I mean, PJ Tucker, is he worth $7 million being as old as he is? Maybe not, but maybe a little lower than that. But again, he wants to go to Miami. He knows that they're going to pay him for what he did in Milwaukee, what he did in Houston, and a solid pickups all around. Tucker again adds a another 3-point shooter, obviously one of the best corner shooters in the league, and corner 3-point shooters in the league, and he is still a relatively good defensive player. Again, he was in the rotation for Milwaukee in the finals, so if you can add a guy who's getting finals minutes, I think that's pretty important. And Miami's able to do that. They usually like try to bring guys who have gone to the finals and won at a high level. And Tucker's been to the Western Conference Finals with Houston. He's been to the playoffs multiple times with the Rockets, and obviously just recently with the Bucks. went to the NBA Finals and won a championship there. So I do want to also mention the Duncan Robinson signing. I think that's a little too much for Duncan Robinson. 5 years, to give him 5 years, and be paying him, what was it again? I don't even think I wrote this one down, but yeah, 5 years, and getting, I think it was it 90 or was it 100? I think it was 100, because I think Duncan Robinson's getting paid the same amount as what Jared Allen is getting, which I think is a little ridiculous. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show what shooting can do for your team. Miami obviously values him, and shooting is at a premium in the league, and the guy's going to be making mid to high teens for the next few years, as far as the salary number goes. Now, does the cap jump up? I don't anticipate that happening until the summer of 2025. So maybe in the last year of his contract, that $20 million isn't as bad. But for the time being, I mean, he's getting paid more than what I think he's worth. But again, they want to keep their guy. I don't think you really penalize teams too much for keeping their own guys, because a big thing about free agency isn't just about who you add, it's also who you lost in free agency. And, monitoring that is going to be interesting for the Heat. The Kendrick Nunn situation still hasn't been sorted out. Does he come back? Does a team, sign him to an offer sheet? There could be a team that needs a point guard. I'd have to look and double check to see what teams still have cap space. But yeah, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, and then also Dwayne Dedmon, who I think was in Sacramento last year, if I'm thinking right, or was he in Miami? I can't remember exactly where Dedmon was, but when he was in Atlanta a couple seasons ago, Dedmon was a guy who has an improved jump shot and can rebound a little bit and play some minutes as a backup center. So I like Dedmon. I like the Dedmon pickup, and I think he works as a backup center for them. This isn't fully updated yet, but we anticipate that they are going to lose Oladipo. They are going to lose Iguodala, as he's been connected to the Golden State Warriors, and that Nemanja Bjelica has officially signed with the Golden State Warriors, and we'll make a video about them later. So yeah, overall for the Heat, I'm not going to give them a grade right now. I am going to do off-season grades once the off-season is pretty much died down and complete, after what we see in free agency, trades, and the summer league. I kind of want to then kind of reevaluate and see where they rank in their division and in the conference, and see if this is a team that can be a home court advantage team next year. But I like them. I like what they've done. I'm not again too excited about the Duncan Robinson and Jimmy Butler contracts, but getting Lowry was something that they had wanted to do, and you find your guy, you target him, and you go after him, is what the Heat do. And so how they fill out the rest of the roster is going to be interesting to see. Again, so they have their big three. They have a couple forwards and wings, I guess you could say, with PJ Tucker and Duncan Robinson. They have a little bit of size with Dwayne Dedmon. They probably could use a point guard or another forward, a backup forward for the future. So look for them to kind of continually try to fill out their roster. There was interest in Kelly Oubre. I don't know if that happens. Is there a trade where it's like Kendrick Nunn for Kelly Oubre? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens with the Heat and how they finish out their roster. Ultimately, I give them a solid grade. I give them a good grade for what they've done there in day one. Again, still retooling needs to be done, so no grades officially going to come from me. But again, Kyle Lowry is going to Miami, going to add some veteran leadership, a guy who's won a title, and hopefully can have a Chris Paul-like effect to the Heat this upcoming season. And look, I think Miami, well, I don't think Lowry makes them great. I do think that just a season that's not as injury prone to injuries like with Jimmy Butler or other guys, I think this is a year where they kind of bounce back a little bit and contend a little bit more than what they had done last year. But that's ultimately what I have to my opinion on the Heat. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the Heat did bad? Do you think they did good? Obviously they still need to fill out that roster, but feel free to comment on the video, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We're making a whole lot more videos. We're going to be doing more with a lot of different teams and going from there. So thanks for joining us, and you have a good rest of your day. We're going to come out with more videos here soon.